I like that
Oh.
you are doing like anytime you go away, you're like, here's my ring camping. Here's my ring here.
Okay, Chrissy, I want you to know I watched your stream with you and Fealty of the whatever podcast that me and Brittany were on. I didn't notice it when I was there. You're right. Only one person said congratulations. And now I'm
Right?
mad.
Right? I was like, they didn't make a big enough deal about it. Isn't that their whole thing? Is like they want, you know what I mean? Like, well, maybe not. I think it's more just it's a free for all and they want to see what happens and clip the best moments. But I think you deserved more like more of a congrats from everybody, especially the host.
He did not like me.
Just because it just happened. Like what and that's the thing is I wondered if perhaps he maybe had a crush on you or liked you or was trying to like vibe with you. No?
Absolutely not.
Do you think just the age thing turned him off?
No, it was weird before we even started the show. The two nicest girls that were there were the OnlyFans ones. Like they were super polite and, talkative. Everyone else I think was like ready just to fight. And I'm like, ugh. I don't know. The older I get, the more I appreciate politeness in people. And yeah,
What was it like? Did you get there and everyone seemed nice, and then when the show started, it seemed contentious, or like
No, so we got like a novel of a message before, like telling us all of the rules. And it's like, you're not allowed to take photos outside. And the only time like inside is in certain areas. We were told to dress like we were going on a first date or a club.
Yes, Venti told me that. Yeah.
Neon colors or animal print.
Oh my God.
I already have my outfit picked out. I'm wearing black, and that's how it's going. Which is like no black, no dark brown, no navy blue. And I texted Brittany. I was like,
really? You could not wear dark colors.
No, and I was because it doesn't look good in the lighting. I'm like, that dude wears the same outfit every damn stream, and it's black and dark navy blue.
Yeah, that I'm calling cap. He wants a good thumbnail, a brightly
colored
thumbnail.
Yeah.
Dress for the thumbnail.
He found like a 7-year-old picture of Brittany and a 3-year-old picture of me, and he photoshopped my bikini top from yellow to pink. And I was like,
what?
okay, yeah, but he didn't put my name in the title. I'm like, you use like a 3-year-old photo of me in a bikini for your thumbnail, but you don't even put my name in. And then I checked. I was like, they don't put any of your handles, or I think they put everything in the description, but after they go live, so it doesn't update till the end. And all they do is promote your Instagram. I could care less about my Instagram.
Yeah.
It's like
Who is this dude again?
Huh?
Who is this person again?
He's the host of the whatever podcast. His name is Brian, I think, Atlas.
Well, okay, so to be fair, he has like interns, I think is what they are, that help him with the show. And so he has Nick, who does the computer stuff, he was very nice. And then the girl that sits in the back, what's her name? Madison. She was really nice too. But they make you sign like this release form before you do anything. And I told them, because they wanted to take a picture of our IDs, and I'm like, absolutely not. And he's like, we're not going to post it anywhere. And I was like, yeah, but what if you get hacked? Like, I'm not showing you my ID. And I was like, you can see that's why I made the joke about the Costco card. I'm like, you can see my Costco card.
Oh, wow.
And he's like, well, we need to say that prove that you're over 18. And so I was like, here. And I covered up like my, all my information so they could see. So it's like when he gave me shit about my age, I'm like, but you know how old I am. You looked at my ID.
Yeah, I don't like taking a photo of somebody's ID.
No. And he's like, we're not going to post it. And I was like, I understand, but just in case you get like somebody hacks you. Because they were really, this is also something, like they were super concerned about security. Like, don't take pictures outside in case somebody can pinpoint where we are and something like that. And I'm like, okay, so you're worried about your security, but when I voice that I'm worried about my security, that's a problem.
He did not understand the concept of doxing, it seems.
No, he does. He does. I just wasn't doing what he wanted, I think. But no, it was uncomfortable, at least for me from the very get-go. And I'm like,
Did he reach out or did you volunteer to go on the?
So I did because we were watching on the show that I do Thursdays. We watched it with Gorlock and everyone. I was like, I want to meet Gorlock, and they're like, you should go on the show. And I was like, okay. So
I'm gonna try to gain a bunch of weight and be the next Gorlock because everyone loves Gorlock. She's an internet sensation. She's a meme. She's iconic.
I know. I mean, I thought that was funny, and that show at least looks somewhat fun. But this was like, I don't know. You could just feel like very uncomfortable. And one of the girls, like right when I was talking with the two OnlyFans girls, and like Brittany and Sean were standing there, and one of the girls came up and like introduced herself and was like, oh, like, what do you do? And she said what her job was. And she gave a different job 3 times on the show, which was not the job that she told us she did. And she told us right off the bat, she's like, oh yeah, like, don't take offense of what I'm going to do. I'm going to like do it this way. And then she like looked at me and I was like, oh my God, like, so you're just here to fight, basically. It was so uncomfortable.
Oh, okay. So do you think she was trying to be a character, or she wanted to like?
Well, that she told us right off the bat that's what she was going to do. So I should have been like, I don't know. I don't understand why someone would intentionally go into a situation to be like that. Like, just why would you be rude? Like, there's a way of doing things and coming off intelligent without having to be like that towards everyone.
I wonder if that's a woman thing. I've seen guys do that too.
I've seen lots of people debate and they don't have to come off that way.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. My biggest gripe was that he didn't offer you guys copious drinks and the chairs weren't comfortable, and like you could take bathroom breaks. That's what Venti was saying. You guys could like break and go to the bathroom, but it was 5 hours of sitting there. And
Well, they also do like an after show, and we were not about that. No, I mean, they had like water, but I was just surprised that there wasn't I don't know, a little bit more. It did say in the novel that they sent us, make sure you eat so that way you don't get hungry. The whole taking away my straw was like a 10-minute ordeal before the stream started.
Wait, what happened? They took away your straw?
Well, Venti and I both had Starbucks because
Okay.
and so I get like the giant Starbucks, and so I need my straw. Also, it's just I like having the straw, and it was a paper straw. And he's like, "No, you're gonna slurp into the mic." And I'm like, "I do YouTube every single day. I never slurp into the mic." Like, I get you're on like the show with like unprofessional people sometimes that maybe don't do streaming, but I'm like, first off, it's a paper straw. I couldn't even if I wanted to. And he already got mad at me and Brittany because we had our Starbucks and he like told us to pour it in. And I was like, why? And he's like, it's because we wanted it to look like a frat house. And I'm like, so why don't you have red?
You get red Solo cup.
Bro.
That's what I said. And I'm like, so get red Solo cups. And he's like, these are cooler. And I was like, I agree, but that's not what's in a frat house. And then I was like, is it because you don't want like getting sued by the brand? And he's like, he started saying yes. And then I was like, well, you have a Fight Club thing here. You have the Matrix thing here. You have In-N-Out cup in the back. Like, you're surrounded by brands. So I don't get that. And then he just told us to pour it in their cup. So we did. And then I had my straw and he's like, you need to throw that away. And I was like, why? And I was like, I don't want, like, do you realize when you drink this stuff, it can stain your teeth? That's partially
Also,
why
it
you
messes up your lipstick. Yeah, men don't know this. It's like,
well, then he told after going back and forth with him, and this is why like the girls brought it up because like it was like a 10-minute ordeal, and which was the most stupid thing. If you thought the age thing was stupid, the straw thing was even stupider. But then he made his intern Nick, he's like, come take her straw. And so the guy came over and took my straw, and I was like, all right, whatever.
And he took your straw. This was while you were on the air or before?
No, this is before. This is before we went on air. And then Madison reads us off this huge disclaimer of things and like this isn't your therapy session, which I was like, what? Who made this shit?
What?
Yeah, she's like, this isn't your therapy session. You don't need to get into like these specifics. Don't let things get too personal. Don't personally insult someone. And I'm just like,
isn't that all the show is?
Well, I know. And I was just like, you want us to talk about a date? Like, this is a dating podcast and you want to talk about dating experiences, but you don't want us to get too personal. You don't want to talk about any of these. It was just weird. It was a very strange, like, Lila asked me if I would do it again. I'm like, probably not. Like, I'd have to have a really good reason, but I don't know. It was uncomfortable.
I'm thinking of going because I'm gonna be in LA in beginning of September, and I think it would be funny to go because I'm gonna do a show in LA with Lila and Keanu,
Okay.
and I think it could be really fun. Like if all three of us were on together, I think we would have a blast, and we would definitely like bring a
Okay,
whole
see, that
cooler.
sounds fun.
Yeah.
Mine was like 5 hours of I want to be anywhere else.
Ugh. I'm just shocked they
Wow.
didn't ask you more questions because you were freshly engaged. Um, did they ask you, like, what led you to this point or anything like that? And they weren't
You watched the stream.
I
No.
did, but I'm like, maybe I missed something.
No, Chrissy, it got to the point where anytime I talked, it was like, let's focus on this. And if I gave like an answer, it was like move on instantly. And so I got to the point where I'm like, okay, there's no point in me giving my opinion on anything because it's so irritation to everyone else. So I just started making facial expressions like very animatedly. And so the host started liking me at the very end because I was just making crazy facial expressions and he started laughing. But I was like,
You felt a little bit like you shut down, like they didn't appreciate your point
well,
of
I
view.
think they wanted me to shut down. I was not you can tell when you're unwelcome somewhere.
I don't watch the show very often, but I don't get this impression that they really care about people getting engaged. Like I feel like they want the wild conversations.
They
And
want you single and miserable.
yeah, and okay, don't trauma dump. We don't want anything personal, but tell us everything about your sex life. Go into detail.
Well, you would think so. Usually what they do is, and they sat me, Brittany, and Sean on one side. What I think it's to get people to fight and get the gotcha.
Yeah.
And so they had Brittany and Sean, who are obviously in a relationship. I'm engaged. You have the OnlyFans girls. You have a chick that didn't know if she was married or not. And then
Oh yeah, she said, "Oh, I'm married." I think, but then the guy had died. I'm like, why would you?
No, that's the OnlyFans chick. That was sad. But no, the French girl, Josie. So she was with someone for 7 years. She's like, I don't know if I'm married or not. I don't know if we're divorced or not, but I'm living in love with someone else.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God.
But, so it's like they try to bait you against each other, but anytime there was something like that, the conversation got switched. And so at some point, some guy sent like a $50 super chat, and it was like, how many pets do you have? What's like the weirdest turn on you have? And what's your political thing? And I'm like, okay, the dating podcast, because he said he was only going to ask us one. I was like, okay, it's going to be the weird, like, what's your weird fetish? And he's like, what's everyone's political leaning? I'm like, I thought this was a dating podcast. Like, what are we even talking about?
It's a mess. That show's a mess.
I mean, there's some really funny episodes and like clips you can watch, but
yeah,
it's very different being there.
Yeah.
And the table is a lot smaller than it looks. Like me and both of the girls I was sitting next to, all of us were all touching under the table, all of our knees. And it was like constantly like, oh my God, I'm sorry. I keep touching you.
Mm.
But
Oof.
Is there a fan going? I have the sense that the air was
so it's
stagnant.
It's really high ceilings, like super, super high. They had the door open. It was 1,000,000 degrees in there. But it's a really well lit room because it's all white, really high ceilings, like very bright lights. And then the table is white, so it's reflected onto you. So the lighting, I was like, I look great. Like I was really self-conscious about
You
looking.
did look great. Yeah.
And so I was like, I love the way like my skin looks. Like I feel like I didn't even need to wear makeup, but yeah, it was hot. And everyone is very, very close. And they have like 4 or 5 different cameras. And it was so funny because they put Brittany on the corner and her hair was so big that they had to move the cameras.
Her hair,
you know,
hair took up a lot of space, but she looked great too. I thought like you and Venti and Sean did great. And like a lot of the guests were just not saying very much generally. So I just don't know why they have to have so many people on.
To fill the table.
Okay.
Like he wants the table full the whole time.
That's interesting. I mean, clearly they're doing something right. He's got a ton of subs, really entertaining clips to come out of there. Maybe it's just not meant for like a long watch, but
5 hours is too long, in my opinion.
Especially when you can't like click off to go pee or get a drink, or like sometimes
You can
like,
get up and go to the bathroom. They don't hold you there. At one point, I really had to be, and the girl was in the bathroom for like 45 minutes. I was like, and
She didn't want to be there.
He was maybe pooping or on
for
on the
45,
phone.
I had to pee. And I have a really little bladder, and I'm sitting there, and you can see when I start dancing, and I'm just like, I have to pee. And the second she left, I ran to the bathroom.
Wow.
But,
Oof.
and I mean, you can get water and stuff, and you can bring your own drinks. They tell you they're like no side conversations with people. And I'm like, if you have to say that, then that means people get bored. And then
Yeah.
no tapping anything, no doing this. I mean, I brought something to like sketch because I do that. And so I was like, oh, I'll maybe like when people are talking about something I'm not interested in, like sketch someone across the table from me, which I very clearly was like, okay, I can't do that. And they're like, if you do this, you get kicked off. If you do this, they'll kick you off. And I felt bad for the one girl that showed up late. And I was like, she came like from 4 hours away, like farther than me and Brittany did. And I was like, she probably hit traffic the way that she's coming. She's got to go through the mountains. That's absolutely hell. And like, yeah, she was 45 minutes late as compared to like 3 hours late. That I would have understood. But I was like, she's 18 years old and she was a little bit late. She came from super far away. Just let her on the podcast.
So they wouldn't let her on right
They
away?
did. They made her sit in the back. But yeah.
Punished her. This is a very interesting comment from Digimental. High temperature helps make people feel uncomfortable to raise their aggression and unnerve people. It's an interrogation tactic. What?
I would actually so where I live in Southern California, which I mean, they're north of me. They live in Santa Barbara. A lot of places here don't get air conditioning because you're so close to the ocean. It used to not get this hot here. But so if you just open your windows and have a fan going, you'll be fine. So like my house wasn't built with air conditioning, neither was a bunch in my neighborhood. So that's actually pretty normal here, but I can see how that would be a tactic in other places.
Russell Hall, one of the girls on You Are Here with Anna was high as balls. I'm guessing she was the one who was in the bathroom for 5 minutes. Better her than
Whatever.
You mean whatever?
The one that was on You Are Here with me was Chrissie.
We were on together.
I feel like if you would have been there, Chrissie, I would have had a much better time.
Oh, I would have. Yeah, if I were sitting on that panel, I would be like the whole time, like, what can I do to make people laugh? What can I do to like,
I know, I would have had a much better time.
but yeah, he didn't seem like worried that people were bored and and not engaged. And I think as a host, like you should.
I mean, he was under a lot of heat from Brittany, so I think he was kind of focusing on that.
Oh, what? Because about the age thing, or was there something else that?
No. Did you not watch all of it?
I watched not the whole thing, but huge chunks of it because we recapped it.
A lot of it was like Brittany interrogating him.
Really? Okay, now I want to rewatch the whole thing.
Maybe watch the highlights.
Okay. What was she interrogating him about?
I don't remember. About
She's doing her Brittany thing. She was just being like,
says and does, and he even said at one point, like, he's like, you're just going for a gotcha on me, and I'm like, well, that's what you're doing to literally everyone here. So who cares if she does it to you too?
Interesting. Okay, Cheekies. Doge Mayr says, I saw that episode live. I thought Superwoman, super OnlyFans, super lawyer chick was so annoying. Oh, okay.
Oh, Jasmine, I liked her, but I don't know. That's because you know what? She was really nice before we started the show. And like I said, as I've gotten older, when somebody is polite, that goes a long way with me as compared to somebody that's just like, I'm going to be a bitch and looks directly at you. And it's like,
was that the girl that was in like the nude bodysuit? The lawyer, she was nice, you said?
Jasmine. She was super nice.
Okay.
Yeah, I asked her and Alana if they wanted to come on the Jack show, and they said yeah. So Jasmine and Lana will come on.
Okay, I love that. I don't mean to shit on the whatever podcast so much because I think I want to do it when I'm in LA. just to see if I can make it fun.
Well, I'll warn you, it's not in LA. It's in Santa Barbara, which is like a 3-hour drive from LA.
3 hours, really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I know. That's why. So actually, me and Sean. So I was already scheduled to go on a different day, and then Sean and Brittany were scheduled to go on a different day, and me and Sean were talking at your wedding because I don't know what Brittany was doing, but Sean and I were talking. And he's like, oh, yeah, we're coming to California soon. And I was like, oh, cool. And he's like, yeah, we're going on the whatever podcast. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm supposed to go on too. And then we both like simultaneously was like, oh my gosh, let's try to go on together so we can all go. And I was like, perfect, because that's a long drive for me to do by myself.
Wow. That's good. Okay, so you all went together?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Who drove, Sean?
Sean's mom, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How
so
is Sean's mom? Is she super tall?
Not really. She's like Brittany's height.
Okay.
I really like Sean's mom. She was super easy to talk to. She loves animals, so she and I like clicked.
Oh.
And so, yeah.
I'm always so interested in like what the parents of YouTubers feel about, like, did she was she like into Sean's content? Like, did she care about YouTube at all? Like, did she follow, you know, him and
I
Brittany
didn't
much?
ask. I just
No?
was
Okay.
talking to her about herself and her interests.
Okay.
Like we just talked about animals a lot because they have like a very rare type of dog. And so I'm a dog person, so we talked about that. And then other stuff on the way up because we had a 3-hour drive. So
3 hours.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, somebody in the chat was like, they're not gonna have you on. I think they just want whoever, because the process is literally you message them on Instagram and then they respond to you with a very long questionnaire, which I've yet to fill out. It's so
Oh,
many questions.
did you get it already?
Yeah, I think it's automatically sent to you. Let me I'm gonna read this because it's interesting. Yeah, you have age, occupation, relationship status, location, identify how do you identify feminist, traditional, conservative, liberal, etc. And that's the thing is like, what did you put down for that? Because I feel like you're not somebody who.
So this is funny. Brittany asked me all of this before, and then Brittany answered all the questions before me and took all my answers. So when he got to me, he was pissed because she's like, what are you going to say about your age? And I was like, I'm just going to say I'm in my 20s because it really doesn't matter how old I am. They want to know what phase of life you're in. And I'm like, I'm in my 20s and I'm engaged. So that's all you need to know. There's nothing, there's literally nothing more you need to know than that.
Like, okay, look at me. However old you think I look, go with that.
Oh, yeah. But so, and then Brittany was like, well, what if he pushes you? And I was like, well, I watched the Destiny episode and his wife, she didn't say her age at all. And she said like her occupation and then that she's, married to him, and he didn't push her. He didn't bring it up. He didn't press it. They just moved on with no problem. And I told that to Brittany. She's like, oh, okay, cool. And then that's why when he started pushing me, Venti brought up, well, like, you didn't push Destiny's wife on this.
Yeah. Interesting. And then they made the point, well, immigration, that's a legitimate reason not to.
Which was weird because I'm like, so you care more about protecting a non-American than an American that's like, I've already had to move. But it was just, I don't know.
Yeah.
It was hell. It was hell. But yeah.
Yeah, the sixth question on here is, can you make it to Santa Barbara at your own expense? Please note, Santa Barbara is a 2-hour drive from Los Angeles, LAX. We have an airport nearby. Please list the exact dates that you could come on. Do you have girlfriends that you want to bring with you? I do. Any crazy, unique dating stories? Any specific dating related topics or things you'd like to speak about on the show? General thoughts and stance on modern dating. Any hot takes? Please set your profile to public. Oh, all right. Well, it seems to be working for them. And
I think you would be good on. I think that you'd probably have a nicer reception than I did, but it is. I think it depends on who you're on with.
Yeah. And the age question, I could be like, well, you've already got, let it be okay for people not to say their age. So,
Well, I mean, you've said your age multiple times on stream. Like I never have, and I've never put out any of my personal information. So,
Yeah.
you know, at that point, I'm just like, eh.
He didn't seem like like he's known anyone who's been swatted he just seemed like, huh? Really? That can happen? Like he was in disbelief.
No, he's not dumb. He knows. I think it was just when I brought that up, and then it's like, oh, I've had hundreds of girls on my show. What if somebody gets upset about this and blames me? So because then he tried figuring out my age later when I said something about me being in college. And I was like, well, I graduated high school early. That's why I was in college at this time. So,
Yeah.
but whatever. He just told me just to lie. And I was like, I could, but I didn't. So,
yeah, it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter that much. Viking. Chrissy should bring Perry. Perry Caravello. That would be so funny. Oh my God, that's such a great idea.
who's Perry?
Perry Caravello he's like an internet sensation. He was like a Hollywood actor. He had the kind of a bad car accident, but he's like fine still. He's just like a little different now, and he's got a cult following on YouTube. He does this show called Perry Carvel Live, and it's just become this inside joke. Like his fans just always send him McDonald's deliveries and fish fillets, and he gets really angry and like yells. He's like, "I don't want any more McDonald's," but people find it funny, so they just send him more and more McDonald's, and they'll like fuck with his sort of feed. They'll make it look like there's a tiger, walking in front of his apartment, and he actually like kind of believes it. He's just a character, and he's very funny, and he would be really great on the Whatever podcast because he's older than the typical guest, and he's a nut job, but in the best way. He's so funny. Love you guys. Thank you for the chats. Thank you for the comments. I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye. Bye. All right. Love you guys. God, I don't even want to leave. This candle smells so good. I don't want to leave. All right. Love you guys. Talk to you soon. Bye. Love you all. Join the Discord. Feet. Love you all. Wow. You guys are awesome. Love you, get it. Bye, guys. Bye. Now I'm really leaving. Love you. Bye.